Welcome to Tao of the Day, everybody. This is Martin John, your host. I also host the Recover Yourself podcast. I am always here to support you in recovering who you are. It's so important to me that the world understands that we are so possible. We have so much potential. We have so much love within us. And, we often get stuck thinking too much, thinking about our past, thinking about everything and trying to make it logical, trying to make it make sense, and all of the craziness that the world has within us. And yet, within us is everything that is wonderful. And so here I am to help grow, help myself grow. Really, it's really like why I present Tao of the Day is because I want to get better, and I want to understand and know more about who I am and the potential of all that is. So if you have a number between 1 and 81 that is just burning a hole in your gut, I'd love for you to jump up and um, oh, Samantha, up early with me. How's it going? We are going to talk a little bit of the Tao. This is wonderful. It's wonderful to have you come up. Please.
Hello, how are
Good
you?
morning. I am doing very
Good
well.
morning.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. Did you
It
wake
is.
up singing this morning?
Did I wake up singing? I woke up peeing this morning.
Oh, well, I mean,
That's
potato,
usually how I
potato. It's
wake
all
up.
spelled the
Really,
same
like
on the cue cards, right?
I mean, not too quickly. I mean, I did make it to the bathroom, so.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's a bonus. So already, your morning starting off well.
Yes, I made it to the bathroom, and then I attempted to. So I recently ran this 5 mile race, and I've been waiting for my foot to heal, and I went out to do a run today, and I only got, I don't know, probably about 100 yards before I was like, nope, not ready yet. And
Yeah.
I didn't limp back, but I walked back, and I was like, we're gonna hold off maybe another couple days before I get the running regimen back in place. So
That sounds smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just about taking it easy,
You don't
listen to
want
the
to
body.
re-injure it.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't even know if it's healed yet, so it might not even be re-injuring, just like, continuing to injure.
Right, right.
But how's your morning? Did you wake up singing today? I'm sure you
I
do
did
most
wake up
days.
singing. I wake up singing every day though. That's my curse. That's my lot in life.
Oh,
um
what a
I
horrible lot
know.
you
I
have.
know. Poor Sammy.
Oh, look at me. I didn't even change my time. I had a talk with Andy Scarantino the other day, and I
I
put it on an
noticed
hour.
that.
Yeah, we're gonna be
I will
cutting you
not
off.
be an hour though,
We're
I
gonna be
promise.
cutting you off at 15, just as
Okay.
as planned. So so
Oh my
do we have a
goodness.
number? What do you got for me today?
39.
30. Wonderful. I don't know that I've heard that number in a while. So let's see. What do we have? I'm gonna take a pause really quick, and then I didn't start note taking yet, and I do want to make sure, because I post these as podcasts and other things, and I want to make sure that I that I don't have to listen to the whole thing again. Not that I wouldn't want to, but I just want to be able I just want to be able to recall. Okay. In harmony with the Tao, the sky is clear and spacious, and the earth is solid and full. All creatures flourish together, content with the way they are, endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed. When man interferes with Tao, the skies become filthy, the earth becomes depleted, the equilibrium crumbles, and creatures become extinct. The master views the parts with compassion because he understands the whole. His constant practice is humility. He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao as rugged and common as stone. That's it.
Hmm. So the first part is speaking towards an ecosystem that works symbiotically with all the pieces working together, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
And then when man comes along, we just kind of ultimately destroy that because that's what we do.
that's what we do. We get in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um and then what was the third part there?
The last part states the master. So the master is what the Tao talks about as being a person who has aligned their life to be lived within reason, right? Within an accommodating reason of your surroundings, right? Like this is the person who is at one with Tao, who is at one with God, at one with like the purpose of being, right? So that is
Okay.
like the in the Tao Te Ching, the master is the physical being that has achieved harmony with all that is. So the master views the parts with compassion because he understands the whole. He's his constant practice is humility. He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao, as rugged and common as stone.
So is it saying that he views even man's interference with that symbiotic ecosystem with compassion because he knows that you can't enter into an ecosystem without messing it up in some respect or another?
That is in there. That certainly is in there. That's
Okay.
beautiful. That's a beautiful recognition. You know, a lot of people,
Um,
a lot of people I think like to just like the good stuff. You know,
right.
you know,
Right.
like and so it's hard to be able to love evil.
Well,
But
it's
is
that
there
age old
anything?
science question. You can't observe something without ultimately changing it in the process,
That's right.
you know?
Yeah. Like
Um,
that's that we like to think of ourselves, especially the colonial idealists of like, no, we can go in and we can observe, like we can go in and observe indigenous tribes and groups and stuff without actually interfering. It's like,
oh, no, 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 no,
well,
no.
no, like that's not really not how it works. It's just like we're not interfering, we're
Right.
just bringing God.
We're just bringing God. Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, that's what they
Yeah.
said.
That's about how it goes, though. That tracks.
so
The
um so I think that is very much a part of what's going on here.
And then the final phrase about glittering.
He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but he lets himself be shaped by the Tao, as rugged and common as stone.
So he doesn't want to stand out. He wants to be as common as a stone, like almost like you would see him in the environment but overlook him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of verses in the Tao that talk about being receptive and being in the low places, being in the valley where everything kind of falls to. And I think that your explanation of that is really, it really kind of points to that idea of just like, it's interesting when we want to glitter. We there is this idea of, and the right before that line, his constant practice is humility.
Mhm.
And I think glittering is always trying to this idea of like, oh, look at me.
Right.
Like I shine, but it's like allowing yourself to be shaped by the Tao, meaning be shaped by the things that come. Yes, it may make you it may make your light shine brighter, but you
Mhm.
may also make mistakes, and that's okay. Like you're common. Like there isn't anything like you aren't perfect. None of us are perfect. There is like but and yet we are all perfect within this moment.
That's a beautiful thought.
Like I often say, like one of the quotes that I have that like I post and what have you is like, don't let your definition of perfection rob you of yours.
Sure.
And as we look at this, the first verse states, in harmony with Tao, the sky is clear and spacious. Well, that's us, right? Like the sky, like we are, like however broad we want to look at this, like whatever the universe is us as well. right? We are a
Right.
reflection of that. In harmony with Tao, the sky is clear and spacious. Our minds are clear and spacious. Our bodies, the earth, is solid and full. All creatures flourish together. All of the different aspects of our bodies, our lives, from family to organs, flourish
Mhm.
together, content with the way they are. If there is cancer in here, we can be and love that too. Like,
What
and
is that mathematical term that states as something gets smaller, it retains the same shape? So, like, let's say, for instance, you have a mountain. You break it up into a boulder. That boulder still continues to look like the mountain. You
yeah,
break it up into a piece of sand, all the way into a piece of sand, and you look at it under an electron microscope, and it retains the shape of the mountain underneath that microscope. That's kind of what you're
yeah,
reminding me of.
yeah. And all of this, like at its core, and forever repeating, is the Tao. And that is the smallest thing that we can, like, although we can look at ourselves and say, okay, like, it is the quirk that we can break ourselves down to. I think that's still the
Mhm.
smallest element. But, beyond that is Tao, right? That it is the space in between the quarks that exist is Tao, that space. And then if we look out around us, we notice that we are surrounded by space. That
Mhm.
is still the same thing. And it is all space. And then we go out into space, and that is Tao. And we go out beyond the universe, and that is Tao. And it is all creating. And that's how we stay in harmony with. In harmony with
Wow.
the Tao, all of this is connected, endlessly repeating themselves, endlessly renewed, just like you said with the mountain, right? Repeating down, 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 down,
Yeah.
to its core element. And its core element is void. Its core element is space. Its core element is nothing. And that's why we talk so much in the Tao about like doing nothing and being nothing.
And it's funny that this was written, up 1,000 years ago before they realized that the space between atoms is so monumental. Most of matter is actually like 99% just space,
That's right.
you
Yeah.
know? Um, that's just kind of boggling my mind a little bit. I love
Yeah.
it.
And that is surrounding us, right? Like there is air molecules here, but in between each of the air molecules is space.
Yeah.
And we walk through this just as easily as we could walk through walls if we weren't so fooled by the illusion.
Hmm.
When man interferes with Tao, the sky becomes filthy, the earth becomes depleted, the equilibrium crumbles, creatures become extinct. Now, when we start looking at this as the body, the sky, the mind becomes filthy, the body becomes depleted. The
Right.
equilibrium crumbles, the balance in one's life crumbles, and the creatures, every cell starts to die, becomes extinct.
Like I said, I'm just flabbergasted. Like you once again uh made me at a loss for words. And that never happens. Wow.
And yeah, and
Oh my
and this
gosh.
this this last verse, right? And this is like always to the grand scale, to the most minute, to the smallest. The master views the parts with compassion. You view your body with compassion. You view the family with compassion. You view your
Hmm.
country with compassion, because he understands the whole. What is the whole? The whole is always in balance, and the whole is in harmony. How do we know that? Because it is all Tao. And we know that, and we can be here, and we don't have to freak out because we think something's out of alignment, because the Tao is always in harmony.
Sure.
His constant practice is humility. Be humble. So many people, I remember like talking to a number of people who, were religious, and yet they didn't have it could be argued that they ever had true faith, because every time something bad happened, they would always say, how could God allow this? It's like, do you believe in God? Like,
Right.
because if you do, then that question would not be like you trying to understand God's actions. isn't in the Bible anywhere. It's like it doesn't say, "Hey, you get you," like everywhere in the Bible it says, I mean, from my understanding of the Bible at least, it just says you'll never understand. So
Right.
like if you have true faith, like the attempt to understand will eventually, it should be, I think, thrown out because I mean, even with my tertiary understanding of the Bible, that's kind of what it says. Constant practice is humility. You don't have to understand.
That is good because more often than not, I absolutely do not understand.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
okay with admitting that.
Yeah. He doesn't glitter like a jewel, but lets himself be shaped by the Tao, or lets himself be shaped by everything that he is experiencing, lets himself be shaped by the world around him, by his experiences, by her experiences.
Sure.
And through that, you become rugged and common as a stone.
Wow. Well, thank you, Martin John, as always. You've
Oh,
just kind
absolutely.
of blown my mind.
Well, I am
Thank you
always
for helping me wake up in a fantastic mood this morning.
always such a pleasure to talk to Dow, especially with such openness. So thank you so much, Samantha. It's wonderful to
You're
share.
so welcome, sugar. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, so I just recognized that my timer is set for an hour. However, you will be we will be looking at 15-minute slots as I normally do. So if you have a number between 1 and 81, definitely come on up. And if you benefit from what I do, you may want to look into the workshops that I host. I'm hosting a workshop tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central. It's called Recover Yourself. My Recover Yourself workshops have helped so many. They are designed for professionals, but open to the public because everybody needs to recover a little bit of themselves. I'm sure we can all help recover bits of ourselves, even in that last Tao that we read. You know, the master is yourself. You are the master deeply. Deep inside of you, you are the master, and that is what we are always, striving to recover ourselves as the master of our lives, and understanding how we can interact with the world around us and interact with other people and things. You know, we all get triggered here and there. We all get triggered and lose track of who we are and lose track of what's going on around us and lose track of just we can lose track, and that's unfortunate because lose track of who we are. I've done that. I'm constantly doing that, and it's always about like, let's reset, let's stay humble, let's stay humble. Yes, this moment right now is huge, and like I get to feel it in my body. You know, like I can feel the enormity of this moment, and it's like staying humble in it rather than being like, I am going to do this with this moment. I am going to ABC in this moment. No, 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 no. Let the moment take you, common and rugged as a stone. That's beautiful. So wonderful and grateful for Samantha for picking 39. I know I've read that before on here, but it seems like a number that I haven't read all that much. So I really appreciate you coming up. If anybody else has a number between 1 and 81, this is Tao of the Day. Tao Te Ching is a text that was written in 600 BCE, and it really lays out what it means to live a reasonable life. What is a reasonable life? Living a reasonable life means being common. You don't glitter like a jewel. You don't try and, attract things because as soon as you're glittering like a jewel, losing your glitter would be a loss, right? You would lose it. Like, but when you're common and rugged, like you can be special when you're picked up by a 6-year old. You get put in their pocket and you can be that thing. And then you can get dropped somewhere and lost. And you're still you. Right? Like that's the great thing about being rugged and common. You know, the Tao talks about always talks about like toughening resolve. Let's toughen your resolve. Let's get you from let's get you away from thinking that you're special. Let's get you away from that. Let's get you away from thinking that like you're here to accomplish something. Let's move you into the place of just being able to be here in this moment and be like, hey man, I was reading Ram Dass, or I was going through a Ram Dass course on the Bhagavad Gita, and one of the things that he just continued saying when he was expressing things, far out. And that's been a phrase that I've been picking up, this idea that, like, oh wow, look at this moment, man, far out. Like look at what's happening. Like, oh man, I'm getting angry. Hey, far out. Oh man, look at this. I'm getting jealous. Oh, far out. Like let's just be in awe of this moment. Let's be humble in this moment. Let's be here in this moment and just check it out and just be like, hey man, far out. That's awesome. That's pretty great. I am gonna go to 60, and I'm gonna read 60. Um, and we're gonna see. I don't know. It just popped out at me. I wasn't planning on picking anything, but here I am, number 60. Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. Oh man, I'll talk about that in a moment. Center your country in the Tao. Evil will have no power. Not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. We're just gonna hold that. Like, give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. What a beautiful way of expressing that, and that's something that, I even mentioned evil when talking with Samantha, and it's like, no, evil exists, sure, but give it nothing to oppose. It's not like, I don't really think evil as we define it really does exist, but evil is a thing that, as soon as we like create, godly, then we've created evil, right? Like, there's this back and forth, and we talk about these things. It's really important to have that perspective that, I was talking to someone not long ago, and I'm going to actually reach out to this person today. But you know the fear of evil is often in the work of recovering yourself, and the work that I work in. When you have fear of something being evil, when you have fear of evil, what actually is taking place is that you haven't been able to love that which you deem within yourself as evil. Sure, why not have evil within us? Why wouldn't we have evil within us? We have everything within us. Everything is within reach. Everything is attainable. Everything is us. So is evil, but so is godliness, or so is goodness, or love, or all of those grand emotions. Evil, just another one of them. It's not nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about evil. We like to think that, evil is the bad side, and God is the good side, or love is the good side, but really it's just two sides of the same coin. If you don't have the other one, you're losing out on your coins. So, governing a large country, and when I talk about country, and I think most of you that listen to Tao of the Day know that we look at the infinitely large and the infinitely small. So, governing a large country, governing your body is a large country of cells, right? And consciousness, and all of these other things. So, yes, governing a large country can be just governing your body. It could be governing your family. It could be managing your, like, middle managing your team of working people, whatever. Like, it could be all sorts of things. Could be a business, could be your clients, could be, well, either way, it's anything, right? Governing a large country, and that could be moment to moment. So you could even be governing your experience in this moment as you're walking through the woods, or waking up, or whatever. Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. Now, you can poke, like, you can poke at a large piece of salmon and not ruin it, just by poking. It's just, but as soon as you start poking like a small fish, and and I think that the imagery is there where it's like, poke once, twice, because it's gonna cook really fast. You poke once, twice, boom, it's gonna fall apart, and then you gotta, scrape it off the bottom of the pan. Like that's kind of how this. That's how I see this. I don't know. I'm sure. I'm sure in the time that this was written, they were frying a whole lot more small fish than I do. So governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking. And I think the point is still made, even if I don't know the imagery. The point is still made that the more you pick at something, like this is like picking at a scab. The more you pick at something, the more permanent it's going to like destroy your skin or destroy this thing. Like you're going to have residue. There's going to be residue from this, and so as I mentioned earlier, I was just finished this Ram Dass course, and in doing that, like I think this idea of poking at something, the idea of poking at an event or an idea or a concept that we carry, I think what that is saying is like trying, getting in there and trying to impose your will on something and check on it. That's an interesting thing, me saying check on it, because I think that when you're in love, or when you have uh, uh, a job, or any sort of relationship with anything, even a relationship with money, or relationship with your business, like being in an entrepreneurial thing, you want to check on it. And I think that not long ago, I was reminded that you don't need to check. You just need to be you. You just need to leave it alone. You, as you, attracted this. You, as you, created this. So you being someone else, being someone that needs to check on it, is not going to be something that's going to help it flourish. But here you are poking at it. Here's my buddy Andy Scarantino. Andy.
Dang.
Hey, good.
Oh, that's 60 minutes. We got to change that. We got to,
Yes. You got 15. You will not. You will not be on for
we
60
got
minutes.
to, I was like,
Yeah.
do you want to like end down the day and like restart it? Or like, I don't know.
Yeah, I keep track, and it was funny. I had Samantha on earlier. I don't know if you heard that, but she and I literally finished, and I looked at it, and there was like 10 seconds left, and we were just wrapping up. Like of the 15 minutes, like a Dow of the day. Like I don't. It's always just, and it's probably having trained me, because each one has been 15 minutes for so long. So I'm probably trained like subconsciously at just making these go 15 minutes.
Like everything else.
Yeah, just trained. That's everything else. Martin's just trained to do it.
I just was like listening to you talk about checking on it. And I just wanted to,
You're not getting away without picking a number.
hmm,
You
number
don't come
five.
up on this stage. What's that?
Number five.
Number five. Yeah, so talk to me about checking on it while I get number five.
Well, that's what we all want to do. You know,
Yeah.
this is one of my big things.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. Let
Leave it alone.
go.
Yes. It's so
Stop.
good. It's so good. Like, and I'm learning that. I'm learning that from day to day. It's a really it's and I'm learning it in deeper ways, because like I know don't check on it, and I know don't poke the small fish, but I'm also like, oh, let me check on it, let me make sure it's still there. It's like, well, if it's not there, far out.
Well, that's how I am though. It's like, okay, well, every morning I'm like, all right, don't check on how things are going. Don't check
That's
on that.
right.
And then I'm awake for 3 minutes. Pick up your phone right now and look at your email.
That's
And I'm
right.
like, Andrea, like why? Like why are you
Yeah.
doing that? Like
Oh.
what is
Oh.
wrong with you? And that's I've let go in a lot of areas, but not in some. And you
Yeah.
find I love that the women that I work with will always be like, it's just so easy for you. Like, how do you not obsess over your body? And I'm like, because the more you obsess over your body, the more you fuck in your body in all kinds of ways. And that's why your body don't look the way you want it to look.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It doesn't know
That's
what
a
you're doing because you're trying to control it every 2 seconds.
That's right. That's right. I am like I'm grateful for all of the lessons that I have picked up, that remind me, don't check on it.
Don't
Just
check on
be
it.
here. Just be here. Just be here. Okay,
Yeah.
so number 5.
Mm.
The Tao doesn't take sides, it gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides, she welcomes both saints and sinners. The Tao is like a bellows. It is empty yet infinitely capable. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. Hold on to the center.
What does that mean, Martin? Does that mean that because you talk about the Tao every day for hours, that
I don't know it at all. That's true. Like this is what Dr. Rao comes on and tells me all the time. He's just like, "Would you shut up?" He doesn't say that directly, but that's what he sort of hints at. He's just like, "Hey, well, because what his thing is interesting. Is like the more you talk about it, the more you talk to other people about it, they can bring you down out of your state. Because my state, like, although I don't claim to constantly be in the state in which Tao is guiding me, but I can and do often get to that place of not thinking and not being and not doing. I can do that, and I have, and I've experienced that. And it's beautiful, and I want to be able to have more of that. But his statement is, well, if you're not well founded, if you're not well cemented in that state, then other people can take you out of that state. You know, and it's interesting, but like here on Tao of the Day, I don't get a lot of people arguing, which is really nice. You know, I don't ever feel like I have to defend the Tao or defend myself and defend it. And so like, so it's interesting as I talk about it. Um, I do feel like there are things that I can I do think that there have been times and there are times where it gets elusive to me even more, which actually opens me up to the mystery even more. But sometimes not in that moment. Sometimes it's all about processing and moving forward. And so yeah, there is some of that. There is some of that.
well, I was kind of poking the bear, but also I think
I
it's
know.
interesting that Dr. Rao says that. And I also think that when you're here on Tao of the Day, you're not speaking so implicitly about the Tao, but rather it turns into a conversation about the people and as you always say, like how to live a more reasonable life.
Yeah.
And just utilizing that like you mentioned, I didn't hear you and Samantha, but I did hear you talking about Ram Dass. And Ram Dass says I don't know in that exact lecture series, but in other lectures that he's done about using the rational mind to bypass the rational mind, which is where I borrowed it from. And if you just stand here in New York City, like where I am, and look around at the massive, Western influenced consumerism, you might know because you are the Tao, you might know of the Tao, but it does help for somebody to give you a book. Like it helps. Like it helps to have somebody introduce you to to the philosophy, the material, the documentation. Like it helps. So in a way, like you have to speak of it. Maybe not all the
Yeah.
time, but it has
Right.
to be spoken about, or people are going to be like, "What is this? I don't know what this is. This is not. This doesn't have any beginning or end."
Right.
Um,
And
go ahead. I just
so no, no, so just before, the more you use it, the more it produces, the more you talk about it, the less you understand, is the Tao is like a bellows. It is empty yet infinitely capable. So even if you fill it full of words, it is the if you filled it full of words, it is just the if you can maintain, and I think this is what I attempt to do, whether I successfully do it or not, I can't say, but what I attempt to do is fill it full of words and talk about it every day and yet release it. Like I like that when I turn off Tao of the Day, I don't remember shit. Like that's why I have to take notes and be like, oh yeah, Andy chose number 5. And then when I read number 5, I can kind of recall some things maybe, but it's like I'm not here trying to hold on to anything or trying to make any big statements. I'm just here sort of allowing myself to be spoken through.
Mhm. I'm trying to use my words, but you know, before 8
It's
Eastern,
yeah,
I
no,
don't
I was
usually
like,
have them.
you haven't had even a half pot of coffee yet. There's no way.
I've had a quarter pot of coffee. I'm in
Quarter
the
pot. I
quarter.
had, I had caught like I tried to have decaf this morning. But the decaf cups I got for the little thing like didn't work, so I just decided to have a Cafe Verona. Now Cafe Verona is a Starbucks like
Right.
brew, and it is good. Like, and I don't know if you know Cafe Verona.
I do.
It is so good. It is so like caramely and like it's like when I was drinking caffeinated coffee, Verona was my go-to. And I enjoyed a cup of coffee this morning. I like literally enjoyed it, and I'm all buzzing now because it. I only have coffee every now and again.
I know.
So.
What was the next line?
Well, I'm going to go back to the beginning because the next line is the more you use it, the more it produces. But the Tao doesn't take sides. It gives both birth to both good and evil. Like that's where we start.
Right. It's interesting because I good and evil has been coming up. Like, I'm not thinking about good and evil, but just the words good and evil have been coming up in my life, like in
Yeah.
different, I'm seeing them in different places.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
Any.
I have no opinions on good and evil. Like, I
Yeah.
can't even place a judgment on good or evil. It seems like the more you want to do that, the more annoying you become, and and also, I mean, but it is though. It is.
It is. It is.
It's
It
true.
is.
The more annoying you become, and yeah, I was thinking about that on my run yesterday about a friend of mine who needlessly argues consistently over usually politics, but
Mm.
hasn't made any motion in his life at all, and so I've had to sort of take some distance, and because he's a nasty person, and
Not evil. Not evil.
he's a nasty person. He's really irritating, and that's something I have to look at. But what happens is it's a lot of finger pointing, a lot of internet arguing, it's a lot of things, and I thought, when when does this ever get us anywhere? Like, when has anybody ever? You're not doing good work by placing a judgment on someone else. You might think you're doing good and noble work, but you're not. you're just
That's right.
just a jackass, and it doesn't matter. And I had this instance come up with a client a long time ago, and it was about this person. They were a foster parent at one point, and but was placing a judgment on the birth mom, who was a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
And we see this a lot, right? Like, we see this, I'm sure you see it a ton. I
Oh
see it a
man. Yeah.
ton.
Yeah.
And we're very quick as individuals, not necessarily this person, but just all individuals, to jump and say that person is garbage. It's like, that's a human that's had a hell of a life that, like, is hurting. Like, no one just becomes that way. Like, it's senseless for us to place a judgment on a human
Right.
because of their actions, based on our perspective, based
Right.
on our experiences. It's useless. It's just completely useless. So I try to avoid it. But I love when the Tao talks about good and evil, because it frames it in a way that makes my ego happy.
And like this continues. So the Tao does this often. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. And I think that's that's what we're saying. It's like, oh, when you recognize that you're judging somebody for, like, here it is, they've had a child and they're useless because of all of these things. But it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Without that, this child and you wouldn't have a relationship, and you like that wouldn't be possible, and what love there is between you and this child, and your desire to help and your desire to look at yourself as some benevolent giver and all of that. Like that's without the person who you are judging, you wouldn't be able to get your trip.
Your trip, exactly. And then when you see yourself as the all benevolent giver, then that just puts more separation between you and others. That not just like the drug addict, but then you and the woman in line in front of you at the grocery store. Like
Hmm.
it's like, well, she should have.
Right.
Well, they should have. And then it trickles. And this is just one example, but it is the way that we tend to operate. And
And even the child that you're fostering, there's a barrier between you and that child, and that barrier is your own inability to be humble.
mm,
Like you're looking at yourself as special, and when they don't live up to something that you believe in, that you're going to be like, you're taking all of this. Like, it's possible that someone can be like, you're taking all of this that I'm giving you and just throwing it away. It's like, well, but that's their prerogative, and that's okay. Like, they can do things the way that they want to do them, but because you are so righteous, which I think that's where the more you use it, the more it produces, right? Like a bellows. It's like, no, you use this, you just breathe in all of this experience, and then you just allow it to be your offering
mhm.
without being attached to it. So the more you use it, the more it produces. It produces more love. You show love to the person in front of you at the grocery store. You show love to this child. You show love to that parent. But the more you talk about it, the less you understand. So now you're like, oh, they're worthless and it's up to me. And now the less you understand of actually how this whole game works, how this whole experience is connected.
Hmm. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I also love the without attachment piece, that speaks to my soul.
Yeah. Hold on to the center is that last line. And it's like, and you're here in the center hub, and everything is just rotating around you, and you can just observe it.
Mm.
Mm. Thank you so much for coming up, Andy.
I'm going to jump down. I'll see ya.
Yeah. Taking you out. Have a good one. All right. Well, thank you, Andy. Thank you, Samantha. I'm going to go back to 60. We're talking about poking a small fish. Talking about poking a small fish, poking a small fish, and ruining things, checking in on things all the time. You know, checking in on how you're doing, checking in on what your relationship is like with things around you. Center your country in the Tao is this, like after we talked about poking a small fish. Center your country in the Tao. Center your country again, whether it's your body, your family, your relationship, and all those things. Center your country in the Tao, and evil will have no power. You will have no power to enter. Not that it isn't there, because it is there. Evil is there, but it doesn't have any power. But you'll be able to step out of its way. Not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. And I always think, in my workshops, I always talk about like being able to understand what's going on around you and what direction you're going, and and be able to make a move and direct your life in a way um that isn't your plan. It's just like you get up and you do what comes. Like, the next most obvious thing is like how I like to express it. Like, what can you do? The next most obvious thing, what is the next most obvious thing for you? And that's centering your country in the Tao. That's centering your life in the Tao. That's centering yourself in the Tao. And evil will have no power. Not that it's not there. And that's the thing. A lot of people want to think, like, if I do this, then bad things won't happen. And when I do this, then negative things won't happen. I don't have to think negative thoughts. Well, maybe you do. The idea that you're attached to the idea that you're attached to not thinking negative thoughts is like that's unrealistic. You want to be able to be here and be now, wherever you are. Once again, it's not that evil doesn't exist here, but you'll be able to step out of its way, because you're going to be able to feel within yourself like, oh, Am I checking on things in my subconscious? Is my mind wandering to think about, like, oh, did I lose this? Am I losing this experience? Am I losing this ability? No, like, shut up. Let's, like, chill out. Like, it's here. You're here. Everything's good. Now just be here. Just be here in this moment as this moment unfolds. Give evil nothing to oppose. If you are in a marriage and the thing that, like, the thing that you can't imagine is getting a divorce or something, it's holding on to it that is causing that thought to, is what is giving you more and more of that thought. Here comes Lois. Lois, how you doing, girl?
Hey Martin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It is
Oh,
45 where you're at, is that right?
yeah,
Jesus, girl.
I'm back up to my regular early morning stuff. I guess I
All
need to
right.
rest. I don't know. Have no
Well,
idea. I've been up for a while now. I thought I was letting you do your thing. I'm like, okay, let me go on there.
get up here. Get up here. Yeah,
Okay.
you've probably already heard you have an hour, but we're cutting you off at 15, just like we do for everybody. So
Oh, no problem. No problem. No problem. What happened? Oh, you forgot to check the
I did it.
time.
I did a talk and I just forgot to put it back.
Okay.
That's it.
I think for some reason 38 is coming up.
38. Well, let's find out what reason that is. We're gonna do the we're gonna do. Oh, it's a hella long one.
Oh, get out.
It is.
Okay.
Settle in.
All right.
People with integrity don't even think about it. That's how you can tell they have integrity. Other people talk about how much integrity they have when they really don't have much of any. Truly powerful people don't do anything, but they get the job done. Other people are always busy doing something, but nothing ever gets done. When kind people act, they do so without thinking about it. When the just act, they're always sure that they're doing the right thing. But when the righteous act and nobody reacts, they try to use force to get everyone to do things their way. If you're not in touch with Tao, at least you can still have integrity. If you don't have integrity, there's always kindness. If you don't have kindness, there's always justice. And if you don't have justice, all you have left is righteousness.
Whoa.
Righteousness is in pale imitation of true faith and loyalty, and always leads to trouble. If you've already made up your mind, you don't know the first thing about Tao, and you never will. The masters pay attention to what's beneath the surface. They'll look at the tree's leaves, but eat the fruit. They turn all that down so they can accept this. That's
Okay.
it.
All right. The parts that stuck out to me is, and it was, that didn't say that. Don't be self righteous.
Yes.
Basically, because all if you think you know it all, you ain't got nothing to learn, and
That's
you are
right.
stuck in that same old stale, walled in bull crap that you stuck in. And if you haven't grown and you're stuck in that kind of stuff, oh man, you're locked in a negative mindset, a mind frame that doesn't get you progressing anywhere. So you can't just think you know it all and you got this all together and all that other kind of stuff. Because I know for myself is it when I was younger, when I thought I had it all or whatever. Oh my God, I was so off the mark. It was ridiculous.
Mm,
So much. I knew a lot, yes, but it was so much more pertinent stuff that was going underneath that I missed out on because I got the surface and I thought I got it going on. Okay, I got that surface stuff. Let's run.
that's
Okay.
right.
And it wasn't shit. It didn't hold up under scrutiny. It didn't hold up under pressure. It didn't hold up under nothing. So that's when I started saying, hey, wait a minute. Maybe I don't know shit. Let me just sit with this for a minute. Let me try this and then pull it back. Let me try. And then you start actually growing. Yeah. When you get
That's
out of
right.
the phase of self-righteous, you think you know. But like I said, but if you have integrity, that's the beginning of getting to the end of the line in the right, I would say in the right way. Because we gonna get to the end of the line.
Right. That's right.
But how to get
The
there is up
the
to
end of the
us.
line is going to be drawn when you're done. Like
Yes.
it's not somewhere that you're like yes, you're moving towards it, but it's not
Uh-huh.
drawn yet. You know,
No.
like I mean maybe it is. I mean depending on how things are, but it's not drawn for you to see. It's not drawn for you to strive for.
Yes.
It's just that's where you happen to be heading.
Yes, and the thing is that it's not a line drawn and permanent indelible ink that can't be erased. It's drawn every time we make up our mind to do something different. So even though I'm in this place right now, if I decided, say for instance, I was out yesterday and I was getting all kind of weird sensations in my body, and I thought it was weird. I was like, "What the hell? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Why am I feeling like this? What is this feeling I'm getting?" And then I realized I was feeling vibrations all around me because of where I was, and I was unfamiliar with the place, but I
Mm-hmm.
was getting all kind of, I can't describe it, Martin. Physiological problems, physiological symptoms of my body, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I feeling? There's nothing wrong with me. And then I go outside, and then I was fine. Or I'd go into the restroom, and I was fine. I'm thinking, okay, and I go back to the same seat, and I'm like, something is about this seat. I mean, I don't know what the energy was, and I know it probably sounds hooky, but the energy was different in one area of the place where I was sitting, and then I had to recognize, whoa, who are all around me?
Yeah.
Who are all around me? Because when I went outside, I was by myself. Dang was fine. When I was in the bathroom, I was by myself. But when I was inside, there was like four people around me, and this pressure was on my body, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, why am I hurting? And it didn't make Martin. It didn't make sense. So I sat there trying to sit with the feeling to see, is this me going? My man, look. I know what my body does and what my body doesn't. And that was an instance where I actually felt that pervasive heaviness of the energy in the room around the people that I was sitting next to. And I didn't pick it up until the third time I went outside and came back in and felt better.
Yeah.
Went outside and felt better and then came back in and felt worse. And I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go. Because this place
Yeah.
it's not conducive to my body feeling good. So we won't go here on this day again because I've been in a place I went to. Somebody invited me to a birthday party,
Mm-hmm.
you but the energy was wrong. The energy was
Yeah.
wrong, and it was, I had to, and I asked God. I said, "Why am I? Why did you tell me if I was supposed to go to this birthday party?" Okay, this is me. God, why'd you tell me to get up and get dressed? Because I wasn't gonna go in the first place, but you said get up and go. And then
Yeah.
I can feel the difference because I did. I kept getting up and walking outside because my body felt funny, you know.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go. Now I understand. As you talked to telling this dial today, that I was supposed to go to see that there was a different energetics changes going on in the room, in
Mm-hmm.
certain spots of the room around certain people, and I didn't pick it up. I didn't get that until I was just listening to somebody else a few minutes ago, and I was like, "Oh my damn, that's what was going on with me." Because I'm thinking I ain't going back out because am I getting sick? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, let me go back home. And I went to bed. I didn't answer the phone the rest of the night because one, I didn't know what my energy was doing.
Right. Right. Right.
And I wanted to make sure I was okay. So I get up this morning. Hell, I'm back to me. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, and that's the that's this like and as we look at this like the beginning of these first
Mhm.
two sections, people with integrity don't even think about it,
Yeah, I didn't
right? Like
think
you
about
know
it. I was
when and truly powerful people don't do anything. You just show up.
yeah.
You
But you
know,
know
like you just show up and be
what?
who you are with, with your integrity as you are. And you don't need an excuse to leave, but you just like you feel it and you're like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know,
It
if you're
feel right
sitting
in
there
my
thinking,
body.
well, do I have integrity if I do this? And then like you start weighing things out and say, this is me, this isn't me, and this is right and this is wrong. That's how you can tell they don't have integrity.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
like because they're balancing it all out and saying one thing over another. Other people talk about how much integrity they have when they don't really have much at all, if any.
Well, I have integrity with myself and my
That's
body.
right.
My
And
body
so like
says,
you're
get
it's
the hell
speaking
up
through
out of
you.
here. Okay. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
it's
okay.
speaking through you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like it's annoying for me. That part right there was telling me that I did know me and that I was feeling what I was feeling, because I questioned it at first and I'm thinking, okay, this ain't right. But no, but I do have integrity in myself, especially when it comes to food and physical
Mm-hmm.
stuff, because I've had to work my way back to health. And when I feel a sign or a symptom, I have to withdraw and say, okay, what did I take in?
Yeah.
It may have been something mentally, it may have been something physically, or in this case, yesterday, energetically, I was picking up vibes from everybody, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So Lord said,
No, and you just
revisit
had to act on it, and here
with
you
it,
are waking up
act
feeling
on it. Right.
feeling like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And so
this is
this then goes into this dissolution of like once you get away from the Tao, what
hmm
happens? You know, you become kind. When a kind person acts, they do so without thinking about it. So they're nice and they're kind and they do
hmm
things without thinking about it. When the just act, they're always sure they're doing the right thing.
hmm
You know, they're always
yeah.
sure of it. And when you're sure of something, you know, like blah blah blah, like that's in your mind, right? That's in your brain. You're like, this is the right thing. But
Yeah.
when the righteous act and nobody reacts, they try to use force to get everyone to see it their way.
Oh, that's what, if I would have said, do you feel that strange feeling? Do you feel that?
Yeah,
Does
yeah,
it
yeah.
rip in here? Da-da-da-da-da. And if I'd have pulled one of them, but I knew what I was feeling. I'm like, okay,
Yep, no, that's
let's
it.
gather, let's
Just get
gather
up
his
out of here.
shit. Because I don't know what the hell was gonna go. I don't. I mean, if anything, some could have went on, some could not went on. But whatever it was, the vibration at that time was physiologically uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
if you're, yeah, and then it continues to say, if you're not in touch with Tao, at least you still have integrity.
yeah.
If you don't have integrity, there's always kindness.
Mm.
If you don't have kindness, there's always justice. And if you don't have justice, all you have left is righteousness.
Righteousness is so judgmental. So,
Yeah, righteousness is a pale imitation of true faith and loyalty, and
and if
always leads to trouble.
yes, and if you think about it, I could have said, I went there because I said I would. I told the lady I would come and support her birthday, and then I could have went there and acted in all those different ways, the right way,
Hmm.
the this way, the that way, all because my internal feelings were saying something's wrong right now. You
And
need
it's not something's wrong. It's just like this something isn't right
something
now
right,
for
right
you,
for
for
me, for
you
me, right.
specifically.
I wasn't
It
gonna
has
put it on
nothing to do with
everybody else.
wrong in some general sense, and then
Yeah,
everyone should have left. No, the only person that needed to leave
it was
was
me.
you, because
Exactly.
that was the experience you had.
Exactly, and I wasn't going to give it to everybody else. Do you feel that? Do you feel
That's right.
own people who do that and who've done it to me? And I was like, oh, I didn't feel nothing. And then they tell me, oh, well, you're not as sensitive as you say. And I'm
That's
thinking,
right. That's right.
that ain't got nothing to do with
Mine.
me. I
That's
didn't
right.
feel no vibe coming off them people.
That's
Okay, it
right.
was your vibe. You felt that's because that's your stuff. So I thank you for this one. This is good
If
I
you've already made up your mind, like if you didn't even go to that birthday party, if you've
yeah.
already made up your mind, you don't know the first thing about the Tao, and you never will.
Ooh,
That's the
that's
thing. You got up, you did your thing, you showed up, you had the experience, and you left. Whatever. It doesn't. It's not about knowing why. It's not
hmm
about getting ahead of it. It's
hmm
about having this experience now.
and
The
I understand
masters,
that.
the masters pay attention to what's beneath the surface, which is what
Hmm
you did when you got there,
Yeah,
and when you just were going through your day, like doing your dharma, living your life.
yeah.
They'll look at the tree's leaves but eat the fruit. Like you went there, and then it was like, oh well, what's beneath the surface? Here's this thing, and I'm gonna leave, and that leaving is
Mm,
the fruit
it's,
for you to
yeah,
learn. That is the sustenance.
to know when to leave.
They turn all that down so they can accept this moment as it is,
Hmm
accept you as you are right now within this moment.
Right.
And you were like, I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, because I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't feel right, and it wasn't nothing wrong with the party. Wasn't nothing
No, no,
wrong with
no.
the people. It was just the vibe I was getting, and it just didn't sit right. It might have been the machines. Who knows? There's a bunch of machines there. The slot machines and shit.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
it might have been the energy from the machines. Who knows?
No, who knows?
I
That doesn't.
know
It's not. It's not even. Because like as it says here, the masters pay attention to what's beneath the surface. But right before that, it's like if you've already made up your mind, whether it's the machines, the people,
Okay.
whatever, then you don't know the first thing about the Tao. It's not about making up your mind. It's about being here and going, oh, this was going on. And like I was saying earlier, just say, far out. Look at this feeling, far out. I'm going to go. Cool.
Okay.
Ain't no big deal.
Good,
Lois,
good.
thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you, Martin. I like that one. It was really, really long, but it was also apropos. So that was
Yes, it was. Yes, it
right
was.
with that we
Always.
yesterday. But thank you, Martin. I love you, and
Love you. Yeah, we will be in touch again
uh,
soon. I know Kelly was in line. If you're still out there, you can come back up. I know I got my shit set for an hour, but we're only talking for 15 as per usual. So I'm gonna head back to 60 real quick and see if we can finish that up. Center your country in the Tao. As we were talking, the country is the body and family and all of the things, and evil will have no power. It's not that it isn't there, but you'll be able to step out of its way. That's right. Like, it's so great to be able to, and this is a big part of my Recover Yourself workshop, is the idea that you want to be able to be aware of what's going on before it goes on. Be aware of what is about to take place before it takes place, because when you can get out of its way. And when you get out of its way, it doesn't get to control you. Right? You're no longer living under the influence of it. You don't have to live under the influence of the things around you. You can be here and be present. And you don't want to poke it too much. Um, you don't want to give it too much authority over you. Even things that you might think that, oh, I am the victim of this. Well, actually not. But the more you kind of see yourself as a victim, the more the world around you is going to accommodate that for you. And so it's real important to, don't poke it too much. Don't, like, this is here now. This love is here now. This appreciation is here now. This job or this money or this conversation or this Tao of the Day talk is here now. So, like, let's be here now with it. And if it's something that is triggering you, that's something that you could see as evil. But if you can look at that evil, hold on to it, and say, "Oh, where is this within me?" Be able to love it in a way that like that you love yourself. Well, then it's not that the evil isn't there, because it's there. You're being triggered, but you'll be able to step out of its way. And as you step out of its way, you're no longer controlled by it emotionally. You aren't its prisoner, and you aren't under its influence. Give evil nothing to oppose, and it will disappear by itself. Have you noticed that? Have you ever noticed that, like, when you stop having um, reservations about things, when you stop having those feelings, what are they called? Either way, when you stop, when we can stop having preconceived ideas of that something is bad, then it's going to go away. I'm going to be putting out an email tomorrow all about how not drinking alcohol is a normal thing. It's like lots and lots of people don't drink alcohol. The fact that we assume that it is not normal, or, like, there's a lot of memes out there. Let's normalize, sobriety. Let's normalize. It's like it's normal, man. Like, and I know I probably see that more than you do, because I work in that field, and a large part of my life focuses on the idea of sobriety and all of that kind of stuff. But when we look at alcohol as evil because it's hurt us or something, but we don't give it anything to oppose, it disappears by itself. Like, I don't have, like, even though I still talk about and interact with, like, sobriety and addiction and all that, like, those things are not, pressing themselves uh, in my life. They're not things that are in my life in such a way that it is evil, or that is bad, or it takes over, that I'm the victim of. And that's, because I don't poke at it too much. I don't try to have it be anything that it's not. I look at it, I give it its respect, I give it some love. And there's still, as I was mentioning earlier, this idea of, I still have lots to learn. I still want to be able to let go, because I do poke way too often. I poke more often than I would like. I poke at things, but I want to be able to let those things just, come and go. Like every time I breathe, there's air. I want everything in my life to be like that. Every time I breathe, there's love. Every time I breathe, there's like support. Every time I breathe, there's all of these things that are coming in like a bellows. Like we were talking with Andy, I believe, like a bellows. It's like that love is there. Let it go. Don't hold on to it. Like breathe in, breathe out constantly. And that's something that's really wonderful to experience in our lives. All right. Well, if anybody has a number between 1 and 81 you want to pick, step up and we'll talk a little bit about the Tao. If nobody does, I'm going to be wrapping up. My name is Martin John. I host the Recover Yourself podcast, and I host the Recover Yourself workshops. One is happening tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. So I will be here probably at 6 a.m. once again. Talking about Tao of the Day. So if you're interested in joining me tomorrow, I'll be here then. And actually all week I'll probably be doing Tao of the Day fairly early, at least until Wednesday, because I'm flying out on Wednesday again, and there's some things I got to do in the morning, so I'm going to try and get these things, get Tao of the Day kind of out of the way pretty early. Love doing them. I love engaging with you guys. Also, keep an eye out for what I'm doing. Check out my website, check me out on social media and stuff. I'm going to be launching a subscription service so that if you subscribe, you will gain priority here on Tao of the Day. Maybe we'll even send you a group text to anybody that subscribes to me to let you know that I will be starting Tao of the Day before I do, so that you can prepare yourself to come up and join me. So yeah, I am starting a subscription service so you can have a phone call with me every month, and so keep an eye out for that. My subscription service is all about recovering yourself, and so if you're interested in doing a little work with me and talking with me and recovering yourself and getting to a place where you can live a more reasonable life, I would suggest keeping an eye on that. So thank you so much for your support here on Wisdom. I am such a fan of you guys and so grateful to be able to be here and offer this. My name is Martin John, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.